Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought it's such a beautiful overcast day. I do have quite a few things going on. We are going to be going to Home Depot a little bit later on, and I'm going to get drip irrigation set up since it's not so hot outside. It's the perfect day to get out here and get that set up. So I'm missing a few things, so we are going to go to the Home Depot. Also later on, I'm going to be going to a friend of mine's house and digging up a load of hostas. I'm super excited about that. But I thought I'd get out here and take you guys around the garden. I am mic-less today because you guys know my mic malfunctioned the other day and it is charging, so well, it is what it is. So anyway, we're going to take you on a little bit of a stroll around and show you guys some progress of some things that's happening out here in the garden space. So let me flip you around. Also, I'm going to be spraying some fungicide on some of my plants because I noticed a little bit of powdery, looks like powdery mildew. I've never dealt with it before, so I'm just going to treat it as such and see what happens. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, you guys, these are the two fungicides. I always get my tongue twisted when I try to say that I'm going to be using today. One is an insect and disease control. The other, I'm not 100% sure. I think it is an insecticide. Yeah, it's an insecticide as well. So both of them had pretty decent reviews. I just don't know which one I'm going to gravitate towards trying to use first. I'll read the containers a little bit more, but they both do help fight against powdery mildew. So I'm going to go ahead and spray the treated plants for that a little bit later on. But let's get into this garden tour. Hopefully it won't be too terribly long. I told my husband it probably wouldn't be, so that we could head to the Home Depot a little bit later. All right, first thing is first, while traffic is low, I thought that we could, oh my God, you guys, I forgot I still have that bag of mulch over here. So you can kind of see the grass out back is a little bit lighter than the grass up front. The grass is still growing in. It's not fully flushed out yet, but my husband has been spraying some weed killer on that. So it turns the weeds white and then the grass emerges from the weeds. We've used it before several times and it works like a charm. It just leaves the yard looking kind of ugly in my opinion. And I'm going to apologize you guys in advance for any background noise. I promise I'm going to try to get this mic thing buckled down and situated, but in the meantime, here we go. I'm going to start with this front flower bed here. We'll start here and then we'll just kind of work our way around to this area and then we'll go down the side of the house. Right here I have some Belisa Gara that I picked up from Lowe's last season. These things got monstrous last year. They actually will probably end up touching one another. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here, and as you can see, these are the white blooming variety. Maybe you can see that. Aren't they so sweet? I didn't think I would love them. I thought initially, I don't know, I was thinking they were going to look kind of weedy. They look absolutely nothing like that, and when they are all in bloom and they bloom prolifically, you get blooms. I get blooms anyway all season long, and these are already budded up, so I'm going to sit back and enjoy it. They are underneath this very large holly that's missing the spot right there for some reason. It'll flush back out. You can see all the new growth that's flushing out on it. There was some dead in it right here when my husband, when we first moved in, he came in here and kind of limbed it up for me, and a whole branch just fell out, a whole branch. So I don't know the health of the plant. It looks okay, so maybe we will have it for seasons to come or years to come, but that's pretty much the height of it. It's massive, and if you can envision it, it literally came all the way down to the ground when we first moved in. Ugh. I still do need to come in here though and clean up some of these little spindly branches that's just kind of dangling along in here, but I've been doing quite a bit of things and I've been really busy, so it's just kind of slipped my mind to do so. Here, I have a couple of these. There's one here and here. I had a third one, but I don't see that it came back for me. And it kind of struggled. It suffered a little bit the previous year, so I might just get another one. But those are agapanthus, and they are part of the Southern Living Plant Collection as well. And they are a beautiful blue blooming. I want to say these were the sapphire variety. They had an amethyst, and I think this one was the sapphire. They're huge when they are in bloom, so hopefully I can capture that for you guys this year as well. Moving along, we have some wrinkle and thyme hosta here, along with the nasty Virginia creeper that I have to come out here and continually pull. Right here, just some leftover pansies that I planted this past winter. I will be digging all this up hopefully today when we go to Home Depot. Yes, I'm going for drip irrigation, but you guys already know I'm going to be scoping out the plants. So hopefully I can find me some petunias. I would love to find some more of the verbena that I'm going to show you guys that wintered over for me beautifully. So that's on the agenda. This little drift right here are purple blooming asters, and they bulk up really nicely and they get some nice color to them in the earlier part of the fall months. That I don't know, you guys. It looks like a mondo grass or a larapi of some sort. I'll probably dig it up and just move it somewhere else because it's in the wrong spot. You can see the ivy is loving its life, as is the creeping Jenny. And then that's a plant sale hosta that I picked up a couple of years back when we first moved in. There was a neighbor noticing that I like to do a lot of gardening, and she told me about a local plant sale, and I hopped on it. I think I paid like $2 or $3 for that hosta, and I just popped it in that container, and it's been living there ever since. It blooms beautifully and it does really well. This area, so from this portion probably right here back, gets morning sun, but then the sun just kind of goes away, and then it's pretty shaded for the vast majority of the day. Well, I'm lying. It's under the canopy. It's really kind of protected by the canopy of this holly tree, to be quite honest, because all the rest of this bed gets pretty full-fledged sun for the vast majority of the day. But right under here in this little area, it does not. I guess it's just the way that the sun is situated in the sky. This is where I come and get all of my ivy, you guys. I think I told you previously, true story, I've not bought ivy in years. I just clip off this same plant and I've had it forever and a day. Right back there is the third seducer hosta. So in the previous video that I just recently uploaded, I think, is where I transplanted a lot of hosta and heuchera. And this was part of the trio of seducer hostas that lined my porch when I first moved in here that I planted before the limelight hydrangeas or the little limes got bigger. So I had to transplant them recently. This one I probably will leave because you can still see it right back in here, and I think it's beautiful in this nice little shady spot. It is very well protected by the positioning of the house and by this holly tree over here. These are my not so little limes, you guys, and they are taking on their shapes really well. I have 5 of these in here, and they're kind of window pane planted. Initially I had the one here, and then there's one behind the peony. They're all blended together, but it's right there. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like how that looks. I feel like it's still gonna be a lot of planting space right up front here. And so I went last year, I think I was at Pike's Nursery, and I picked up these 2 here last season, and I planted them in the ground, and they're, as you can see, putting on plenty of growth. So behind them were where the seducer hostas were. You're not going to be able to see them. The only place you'll be able to see them is when you're sitting on the front porch, which is fine. But I feel like the hydrangeas eventually will crowd them out and you won't be able to see them. But you guys, can you imagine when this grows in right here and forms a nice thick, it'll form a nice thick hedge right here. Little limes they're a little smaller of the variety. So you have your limelight hydrangeas would get like what, 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. I've heard some people say theirs are larger than that, like some up to 10 feet. Then you have your limelight primes that are like a doorstep down, 5 to 6 feet tall and wide. And then you have your little limes, which are, they say, anywhere between 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. I feel like mine will probably get to be about the 5 feet range because last year they were already at the 3 feet range and above. So I think that's going to be spectacular. Now right here, I do kind of reserve it for annuals of some sort, but who knows? I may find a perennial that hits my heartstrings and plant it right there because I really don't want to have to fill this entire bed up with annuals. It can get a little pricey. Y'all are going to tackle me. Here's the larapi that I keep promising that I'm going to trim up for like the last 4 videos, and it's still looking like this. I have ordered me some Felcos. They should be on the way soon, and I will get this cleaned up, I assure you. But in the meantime, the Nilarapi is coming up really, really fresh. It's so embarrassing, but it is what it is. Maybe everything else around it will kind of downplay the scraggly look of it all. Right here is the salvia that I planted in another video. I can link all of these in a playlist for you in the end cards. But these are a salvia. The name is evading me right now because they are so recently planted. And there's the blooms on this one. Really beautiful blooms. And they're really thick too. I like that about this. Right back here we have, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 of these, maybe 5. Banana Cream 2 Shasta daisies. Okay, so here's the story about these. I'm not feeling them. I think they're beautiful when they're blooming, but my deal is I'm not sure what their problem is, but I only get a handful of blooms on each plant, and there you can see the size of them. They're not like teeny tiny plants, so I don't know if it's user error or it's just plant, but I've seen other people's that look perfectly fine. I feel like I would like to replace them with another variety of daisy, maybe like the Daisy May, because those look like they get massive and beautiful, and they would look good backed up against this salvia here, and under planting this beautiful Ito peony. You guys, I'm so glad she's got at least a couple of blooms out, but I see about 5 more that's about to open up in the next day or 2 probably. Check it out. I'm gonna walk around and see if I can get a better shot of those blooms right there. But you can see the other blooms are really starting to unfurl. Is that it? Unfurl. So let me walk around real quick and see if I can get the other ones. There they are, you guys. So this is a Ito peony. I had several herbaceous peonies in our last garden space. Some of the more popular varieties, and I love them. I love the foliage of them. However, here's my gripe about a peony. Their blooms don't last very long. You get them, once they bloom, that's it. Like, they're done for the rest of the season. And then you're pretty much only left with the foliage, so which I happen to find very attractive. I love the way that their foliage looks. And this looks so wispy. I love the way it looks in the wind, but look at this. That's one bloom, you guys. One bloom up against my hand. I don't know. It's got to be at least 5 inches. If they all open in succession, which I'm glad that they don't because I would miss seeing them. I'm glad that they kind of give me a peep show every once in a while. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful plant. Here is the other of the little hydrangea I was telling you about. And then right here, if I can back up this way, that is a puffer fish. Gets to be relatively the same size as the little hydrangea. They kind of almost favor one another too. So I just went ahead and put that one right here. I need to come and dig this up. That's just a rogue seedling of the Mandina that I don't want to be right there. And this tree right here is my pink dogwood that I've had here since we moved here. It's the first thing that I planted here. First year it's got blooms. It has not bloomed for me these past couple of years, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if maybe I haven't planted too deep and it's not getting enough oxygen to produce the blooms. You can see it's very healthy and it's beautiful, but I would love for it to bloom for me. So I'm gonna come in. You can kind of see where I started the process of like sliding the mulch back right around in here. Well, maybe you can. There you go. I kind of slid the mulch back from its trunk, from its base. I'm going to kind of dig some of that soil away, and maybe hopefully that'll help it get some oxygen down in there so that it can produce some blooms for me. But other than that, it's pretty spectacular. I think it's beautiful to look at. And it's put on quite a bit of growth for a dogwood. You know, dogwoods grow slow, so anyway. But yeah, this area, this is what it looks like when you're walking up, because here's where our porch is here. And it just, this is the backed up view. Also, you guys, real quick, check this out. So these are unique stones, hospitality pineapples. And oh my goodness, we went to our local garden center. I don't know, it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was just kind of scoping out the plants that they had, which wasn't much at the time. But I happened to see these and they're beautiful. And I do plan on getting the hospitality fountain from Unique Stone as well. So when I saw these, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have them. And so I went to go check out the price. Well, they were initially $150, and I'm like, okay, but what is this red sticker on them? You guys, I picked these up for a whopping, I want to say they were $35 a piece. And they're heavy, and they're huge, and I love them. Now, they're not going to live right here. I really want to incorporate them in the garden spaces somewhere because I just think they're that pretty and they really need to be seen, which they get seen on the front side of the house for sure. But I don't know. I just feel like I want them somewhere else. And they mesh really decently well. Coloring is off with my pineapple fountain over here, but we'll take a look at that section in a second. So let's hop back out front. All right, you guys, so we are back out front. There's the dogwood right there excuse me, that I was mentioning. Here are the nandinas, not sure the variety because they were already here. In front of that, I had to come pluck my little bitty Japanese maple. That is a blood good. Wasn't faring very well in the back, but since I have put it out front, just this month alone, it has put on a tremendous amount of growth. So maybe it will be happy right here and want to live out its life right there. Right here, you can see I have a bunch of violas that really it's time for them to go. Also on the other side of the walkway, there's some as well. But this is typically where I plant all of my annuals every year, just for a very vibrant pop of color. And then there is my arborvitae in a pot. I could not tell you who makes this pot. It looks like Unique Stone, but it also could be Henry Studios. I was gifted these pots by my mother from a friend of hers, so they're very special to me. I do kind of need to come in here and lift them up. They look like they're kind of sinking a little bit. Plus, I want to put a paver underneath it to kind of even it out and to keep the roots from my arborvitae from growing down into the ground, because I do probably have plans of taking that arborvitae out of that pot eventually, I think. I don't know. We'll see. We got some ajuga down there, more larapi, tons of larapi and weeds. Oh, I will probably get out here and weed this a little bit later on today. We got a hosta that's really teeny tiny back there. That was a stained glass hosta that was out back. They weren't really kicking it back there, and they're still not kicking it now. So it may just be that they have to kick it all together and get out. So we'll see. I'll give them some time. All right in here are my beautiful coast to coast hostas. They just look like they shine, and I love them. And there's a vine weed that's trying to take over them, and I will come and rip that out. Excuse me, after the video. But there's one there, and there's another one behind my Japanese maple, the bloodgood over there. But I feel like they just add a nice bright pop to any shade garden when you have that bright vibrant green. Right here also is where I plant more annuals. You guys, that's the verbena since a week ago in the last video that I showed you guys. I typically space my videos a week apart. I film them accordingly. All right, I did find the name of it in a previous video. I am going to look online and see if I can find more to order, so that I can plant them in succession right along here, because from this larapi all the way down is where I plant more annuals. So I will have them here. I was trying to find a Super Tunia Bordeaux. My husband actually likes that, and it's rare that he'll say he likes a plant. So I kind of want to get that for him. But if I can't find it, I will just get more of these. But I'm definitely going to get more of these to go in this section right along the front here. Oh my God, the weed right there. All right, this hosta right here is also another one of my favorites. It is a autumn frost hosta. And I mean, just by looking at it, you can probably tell why it is one of my favorite hostas, just by the variation of the coloring on it. With that, I say it's a deep green, but actually it's more like a blue in the center with the coloring along the edges there. Oh, it just shines. And I have 5 of these out here as well. There's a smaller one there, though. I'm not sure why it's that small. And then we have a couple more there. And then we will walk around so that we can see the big boys of the show right there. Those are my Empress Woos. Those are my prized possessions. There's a weed trying to grow up in between there. I see. Little sucker. Aren't they beautiful? But look how it's like two plants in one, because it's got like this ombre effect. Then it floats into this. I think it's called violet ice. Like violet ice, I think is the name of it. I'm not certain. But it's just like this ombre effect of purples. Oh my gosh. I don't see how anyone could not like this. It's beautiful. All right, right here is my Hudson Bay hosta. I'm still on the fence on whether I want to leave that there or not. I may uproot it and move it to the back with the other Hudson Bay hostas. There's a closer look at some of the other autumn frost hostas. So right here is one of my Empress Woo hostas. I think this is its. I think this is going on its third year in this garden space. You guys, I get my math wrong on when we moved into this house. So now a couple of these Empress Woos I brought over in containers from my other home. So they're a little bit older, only by like a year or so though. I think it's only by a year, a season. So I think that is one of them. There's the other coast to coast hosta right in there. And then there is the Bloodgood Japanese maple that I planted right here. More Empress Woo hostas. They're very upright today. Yesterday they were lounging and they were more laid down to the ground, but today they're up there, almost like they've been watered, but they have not. It's very cool today though. But you guys can probably tell the difference in these just from a week ago, from the last video that I showed you, because you honestly can't even see any spacing in between these hostas at this point. And last week you could. And when I look down in the center of each one of these plants, you can see so much new leaf foliage that is about to emerge. So these are just, and the bird flew. Anyway, aren't they beautiful? Now this one down here is a Woolala. The Woolala is a sport of sorts of the Empress Woo. So they roughly still get to be around the same size. But the Empress Woo, you guys can get a spread of up to 6 feet. And you know, when I tell my husband that, he kind of looks at me sideways like, mm-mm. But I'm like, trust me, you'll thank me later when we don't have to buy 75 bags of mulch to spread down every year when these kind of fill in this area, which ultimately was the goal when I planted these. Not to mention, this is my favorite perennial by far, if you cannot tell. That, heuchera, hydrangeas, how do you guys say it? Is it Brunera? I've heard it so many different ways, but I think people understand what I'm saying when I say the name. So these two, I want to say on this end, are my younger ones. That one definitely for sure I know is a younger one. And then that one right there, I know for a fact is one of my older ones. I think I said in the last video that these two are my younger ones, but I want to say it's this one here and then that one right back in there where the cat is crossing back there is my youngest. And I think that these three in the front are my oldest ones. I think. I could be wrong on that. When we set up our drip today, I am going to be specifically setting up very targeted emitters to all of my hosta and all of my hydrangeas, because hydrangeas love water too. And being here in the South, especially where I am in Georgia, zone 8A, we don't get a lot of cool evenings and nights. So if we have 99 plus degree weather in the evening times or in the morning times, chances are at night times we're going to probably be in the 80s. That's just how things roll here. We don't really cool off at nights, hence why our hydrangeas don't change and shift colors like other people's hydrangeas do. But yeah, so anyway, these just like a good bit of water, and so I just want to set up some emitters to make sure that they get the water that they need. Right back in there, it's finally looked like it's doing something. I was going to move it. Its counterpart that was on this side of the tree, right in this empty space, died. But that is a lemony lace elderberry. And I was iffy about planting them anyway because we are a zone 8A, and even when we were a zone 7B, I just felt like I didn't think they were going to do too well for us because I knew that where I live, we were already on the cusp of a zone 8A. You could go like a few minutes up the street and you would be in a zone 8A. So I knew it was kind of pushing it, but they did okay. They kind of struggled a little bit. But this is, I want to say, their third year of me having them or longer because this came with me from a previous home. So it may just be that it just needed a little time to get itself acclimated and adjusted to everything going on between the transplant, the move. I mean, it was a lot on the poor little plant, but it's looking good so far. Down here is some Jack Frost, yeah, Jack Frost Brunera, and I had more planted down in here, but I don't know, for whatever reason it just didn't make it. I had some all along in here, and for whatever reason, I don't know, these are the only two that took. And I don't know if I mentioned I had planted some out back that were massive. They were beautiful and healthy looking and strong, and I literally came out the next day and they were like as black as my mulch. And I don't know if it was ants or something else. I don't know what ants can do to the plant, but maybe it ate through the roots. I don't know, but for it to turn like that overnight was very shocking to me. So I have a wide open space right here that I can get something in there. And can be quite honest with you, I would love to pack it full of Brunera, but I need to wait and kind of see what my son's going to do this year. The canopy of the tree above is filling in quite nicely and it's growing, so I don't know. I may be able to get away with it and plant some right along in here. I think it would be beautiful, and even carry some around in there. Ooh, you know what would be gorgeous right there? Plumeria lungwort, one of my new favorites. I think I might do that. All right, we'll spin around. This bed's nothing to really talk about. Looks like crap if you ask me right now. I've not mulched it. I'm still in the process of transplanting things out of it. So in the previous video, I took about 6 heuchera out of here, and I have several more to go. I was going to shift the ferns up, but I actually think that I like the ferns positioned where they are. These are autumn ferns. You can see that they emerge with that beautiful orangey kind of color to them. This is the new leaf canopy. I have yet to clip back the old, so if you see any that are flopping down, that's the old that I come in and I trim those out. And then I'm left with the beautiful canopy of the rest. I want to say these get like 24 to 30 inches tall and wide, so they're presents right here around the fountain. You can't even see them, but back here is you can see this. This is my diamond frost hosta back here behind the fountain. It's pretty big too. It burns though right here, which is very weird because it gets no sun. So I don't know why it burns, but it does. But I have 2 lady in red ferns. So there's one there and there's one on the other side back there. And I want to move them in front of the fountain in the empty space here. Let me back up again and show you the empty space right in here, so that it's just a bank of ferns right in here, and then we'll just have the hellebores right here on either side. And then I think the rest, I just want to mulch it up, you guys, until I figure out what it is that I want to do. But I've got to get all the heuchera out of here. I do definitely know that. So that'll be a project and a video to come. Back here is my red dragon Japanese maple. I love it. I've had this since it was a little twig. I call it a little twig, but it was little bitty, you guys, when I first got it. And I was so proud of that thing. I planted it in the front on the corner of the house. And my husband dug it up and put it in a pot for me. And we planted it in the ground when we moved here. And this is where it's been ever since when we moved in. But I love it right there. And this is my Facebook Marketplace fountain that I found that my husband got for me. It's beautiful. just lets out a little bit of noise. I do need to come in here and rub a little bit more stain over the pineapple. Maybe, I don't know, but I do see a couple of places down there that could use a little bit more of the stain. But yeah, puts out a good noise. Quick check on the container, still looking good. I know I showed you guys the container in the last video, and I want to show it to you again because it's still looking good. We got a Supertunia Vista Fuchsia, some Bacopa from Home Depot. I think that's Vigoro variety, which I will repeat again and again because it is beautiful. And then there's some Creeping Jenny in there, Ivy, Dusty Miller, and then the Fern. But yeah, it looks good. All right, moving on. And across the way is more of the plant sale hosta. I don't know the variety, you guys, but it kind of looks like it could be a Francie. Lord, the fine weed. Look at this. I mean, and if you don't catch them, they're so sneaky. It looks like the piece of the hosta coming up through there. I'll get that. But yeah, this bed's pretty simple. It's relatively simple, and it's honestly one of the more pleasing beds. I like to keep some of the beds really simple because I kind of do a lot in some of the other beds. But yeah, those are the hostas there. This is a variety of heuchera that I picked up from Lowe's when we first moved in. Look at the sheer size of this heuchera, you guys. I mean, maybe it's just me. That's one plant. There's only 4 plants in here. There's one, there's a small-ish one, there's another one, and then there's one back there. I mean, they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. That's a lily, daylily, and then I have another one on the other end of the flower bed. Don't ask me the name because I honestly can't remember, but it almost reminds me, the coloring of it reminds me of the Proven Winter Storm Shelter daylily. That's what it kind of looks like for me. Or a larabi, you guys, or lily turf that needs to be trimmed back. I swear to y'all, the next video you see, it's going to be clean, but it's coming back really good. Some of this probably could be divided, but I'm not going to fool with it. But man, I think the variety of this, it's a Lowe's brand. Was it Black Carnival? But look at their blooms. They're so delicate looking. I need to come and limb the Japanese maple up. But you guys, I just planted this Japanese maple last year. Can we talk about it? All this, okay, so it was like, like from here up was not even there. Take 2 because I literally was screaming over all the cars. My Lord. So it wasn't even as tall as this fence back here that's behind it, and this is all this year's growth. I do see a branch right up at the top up there that probably could be clipped out, but everything else comes back so fresh on this. Cannot remember the variety, but I do think there's a tag on there. I'm wondering if I put it in the wrong spot because it's so close to the garage, but we'll just have to keep it trimmed and we'll figure it out. All right, let's go down here on the side of the house. All right, you guys, this plant right here is a summerific, very awesome hibiscus. It will get, I think, to be 4 feet tall and wide, and it is huge. So every year you cut it back, and you can see where I've been cutting it back. Let me zoom in. There's the cutback growth, and you can see right at the base, there's new growth coming out. It grows back fresh from the ground like that every single year. If I have pictures, I would try to insert them of what this looks like, but I'm sure I do. But they're just beautiful. This stripy texture right here is just random gladiolas that continually come back for me year after year. I didn't think that they were supposed to, but they do. They're just a mixed variety that I picked up from Lowe's a couple of years back and put in the ground. They're beautiful, and I come out here and I cut them and put them in vases. Right here is a random allium. This is serendipity. So I moved them because of the baptisia. Initially they were all down in here and around in here, but everything was kind of crowding them out, and I never did dig that one up. I'm not sure why, but I did move its counterparts right here. So there's 3 of them here, and I may just dig that other one up and plop it right down there. But my favorite is Millennium, but maybe I'm just partial. They're a little bit darker in color than the serendipity. I love the serendipity, don't get me wrong, but if I can get my hands on Millennium, I will have that as well. Right here is a baptisia. I think this is strawberry lemonade baptisia. This thing gets massive as well. Also, it grows up from the ground fresh every year as well. So you just kind of come in, cut it back, and then you can see it emerges. It gets to be about 3 feet tall and wide also. Behind it are my Atlas roses, you guys. So there's the one here. And I did mention in a previous video that I have to treat all of my roses this year for rose slugs. Not happy about that because I've never had them before, ever. But look at this one right here. Look how pretty that is. And then the little bud's starting to emerge. And then here's another set. This is an older bloom. I'm trying to be delicate with it because I feel like if I touch it, it will fall apart. But then there's the fresh little bud back here. Look how sweet. Oh, just beautiful. But I've been checking my roses, and the slugs that I see on there, rose slugs that I do see, are curled up and they're dead. So in here, you guys, I still have yet to mulch this bed yet, so it's still looking a little worse for wear in this section right here. But right here, we have some Midnight Masquerade. I had a massive drift of these in the last garden space, and I love them. They have the most gorgeous purple blooms on them. They're very erect, upright kind of growth habit. They get, I want to say, almost 3 feet tall and wide. I'll have to double check those stats, but I know they're in the 30-inch range of things. But look at the pretty coloring on these. Look at that. They have that really deep, dark, rich foliage. It's almost like an ombre effect. And then you have the green down at the base. So I have 3 of these. I honestly would like to get probably a couple more of these because I think they would be really beautiful back here to have them right around in here. Down here I have some coneflowers that look like they're on the struggle bus to me, but this is Summer Song Firefinch. I really pray that these pull through. I planted these last fall, and I really want them to do well because I just think the blooms on these, every time I see them in people's garden spaces, are gorgeous. They have an ombre effect as well. They are red blooms, but I don't mind those red blooms. I don't know, maybe because of the different color variations of the blooms. I think they'll be beautiful. I had a 4th one, but unfortunately we had to have, which is why it looks kind of rough right here, we had to have the power company trench because we had some underground electrical issues, and power in the house was fried, so they had to come and replace the underground wiring because this was full of ajuga. You can still see some of it's left. That is a Japanese maple, so this is a seedling of the one Japanese maple that is right there. So it is a seedling of this Japanese maple right here, and they pop up everywhere. I'm constantly pulling them out. All right, moving along. This, I don't know the variety of this hydrangea. I'm thinking it should be a Little Lime Punch. Main reason is it was inappropriately tagged when it was shipped to me. It was tagged as my pufferfish. When my pufferfish started to bloom, I realized that that was not the pufferfish, so I had to move it back here. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll find out when it blooms, if it blooms for me this year. It did not bloom for me last year, but it has put on a tremendous amount of growth since last year. That is my Mexican petunia, and I think I want a couple more right in this space, just like maybe one here and here. Now, I heard that Mexican petunias can be quite invasive. I did reach out to a local grower here that has them and ships them and sells them. She did explain to me that yes, they can be a little bit invasive, but nothing that's not too manageable. All you have to do is come in there and kind of dig out the ones that you don't want, relocate them, or get rid of them. So that being said, they're typically hardy zones 9. We are, like I said, zone 8. She said she's never had a problem with hers perennializing and coming back for her in our zone 7B when we were 7B. So we shall see. There is a local facility that I pass to and from work every day, and they are in masses out there, and I hope this summer I can capture that for you guys and show you what it looks like if I remember. But I enjoy looking at their landscape so much. But yeah, just to have something kind of soften this harsh wall of the basement right there would be nice. The ajuga is pretty much about to go out of bloom. see a couple of weeds here and there I need to come rip out of them that's growing, but I'll probably just leave this as a juga because honestly it's a pain to have to get in here and try to water on this hill. And I like that it's just kind of like a breath of fresh air when you come around here and you're not looking at so much going on. And sorry if you can hear the blower in the background. My neighbor always decides to come out when I'm out here. I don't know what it is with that. This right here, these 3 clumps are autumn joy sedums. This should be their 3rd or 4th year that I've had them. I brought them from the other house as well, so I'm praying that they really, really bulk up for me this year and spread out real wide. This hillside that they're planting on gets quite a bit of sun. It gets a lot of morning sun, at least 6 hours of sun a day, and then it just kind of mellows back out and it gives it a little bit of reprieve. So everything that's over here does relatively well. Behind it here is a darker variety of sedum right in here, and I've noticed some, like I said earlier, some powdery mildew. I've never known sedum to get powdery mildew though before. You guys let me know if that's really a thing in the comments, but I'm gonna spray it and see what happens. I've never dealt with powdery mildew before ever, so I don't know if it's the deer repellent that I'm using maybe it's causing it to happen, because I've not noticed it happen until I've had to start using the deer repellent in the last fall. So I don't know. That's why I'm also really anxious. Not anxious, I hate using that word, but I'm just really ready to get the fence up so that I can stop having to spray stuff so heavily for the deer. But anyway, this is Sparkleberry Dazzleberry. I think it's a Monrovia brand. And this sedum right here is Rockstar Popstar. This is a proven winners variety. I love it, you guys. This is like my sensory corner over here. I love to feel the sedum and how they feel. And then right back here is all of my Helen Von Stein lamb's ear that's finally starting to bulk up. I always get so nervous about it not really taking off, but I can see that the limbs or the foliage is starting to really get some size to it, which is nice. And typically this whole section right here is just a whole bunch of lamb's ear. All right, you guys, and in the other video you saw where we planted this, or maybe you didn't, it's linked, you can go watch it. This is where I planted one of the transplanted Hudson Bays in between the nestled it in between the Tiny Tough Stuff to right here, and then the lamb's ear over here. Like I said, hopefully it'll kiss the wall there and just be a soft little addition, and it just kind of transcends you down to more hostas to come. This beauty back here, it needs to be, my husband cut grass yesterday, so that's why everything looks so dusty. I forgot. I should have hosed everything off, but then I have to come spray for the deer, and that's a whole nother thing. But this is my blue hosta. What is this? Diamond Lake. So it is the sibling to the one that I showed you behind the fountain. It's pretty massive, you guys. I could not tell you the size of this one straight out, but it is planted right down here below the downspout. So between that and this hosta, it loves its life. I mean, this hydrangea, they both love their life right here because they get all the water they could possibly ask for. And then down here are some beautiful hellebores. Cannot remember the variety. I think one is an Anna's Red though, I think, but I could be wrong on that. I've not planted anything here because I anticipate these coming out a little bit further, because they are definitely not their full size for sure. Up above it is my womp. That's my rose, you guys, and I cringe every time I see it, and it's taken every inch of restraint within me not to come in and hack this thing down to the ground and just let it start afresh and just forfeit all my blooms, because I was just that over it. Look at the rose slug damage. I mean, let's just take a moment of silence for this poor rose. This is my Bathsheba too. Never in the years that it's been here have I ever dealt with any kind of pest other than aphids, and I spray them down with neem oil. And I sprayed this down with neem oil, but for whatever reason, maybe the plant was just larger than it was last year when I was starting to spray. I just didn't get to it. It's okay. The plant's not dead, it's just ugly. But yeah, this is it, you guys. It's just so disappointing that I have to look at this. So what I'm going to do is once they finish blooming, I will come in and cut it all the way back because I couldn't care less at that point, and just let it start afresh because it will. It grows like a weed. It is a climber. I don't know. Did I say the name of it? I probably did. It's Bathsheba. I'll repeat it again. But normally you can't even see the trellis. But look how bare it looks because they ate everything. Let's look at something pretty. Down below it are the Hudson Bay hostas. And see, you can already see since a week ago when I planted the other one. See how much further out they have already come to the edge of the flower bed. So like I said, trying to plant the other one there just kind of would have been a waste of time because it's going to get swallowed up by these two. And that bright one, I know somebody's probably going to ask, that is called, I think, the Rainforest. I think it's a Rainforest hosta is the name of that one. And then some more plant sale hostas behind the Hudson Bays back there. And my zebra hydrangea that I have got to remember to come dig up and plop it out down under in the other flower bed. There's the Carax. That's the Everillo by Southern Living Plant Collection. Woo, and the wind, you guys. It's a little breezy out here. Easy breezy. That is a wee hosta there. Japanese painted fern and my fatsia that I really don't want to have to transplant that because just the thought of having to try to get back there to dig it out alone kind of stresses me out. It may just be that I wait for this tree to grow a little bit more and then limb it up so that it can stay back there and live happily ever after because I don't want to. But see, this is what I was saying about, look at that. Is that powdery mildew, you guys? I don't know. I'm going to treat it as such today. But it looks like powdery mildew to me, and it's only on these two branches. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle it now before it starts to spread any further on anything else out here. So that's the only two things I've seen it on is this and the sedum. So everything else is pretty good. The other transplanted Hudson Bay, more ferns, Japanese painted ferns, and my beautiful, it's about to cover my bunny up. I'm going to have to scooch him up a little bit. But that is the only stained glass hosta that looks decent out of all the stained glass hostas that I have. The rest of them are so little. Right here, this beauty is my Fairy Trail Bride hydrangea. It gets loaded down with buds and blooms every year, and it blooms repetitively every year, and it grows like a weed, guys. Get yourself a Fairy Trail Bride hydrangea if you can. You will not be disappointed. Back here is a fern that I don't remember the name of it. I think it's a red fern. I don't know. I need to move it. It's in the wrong spot. This is going to get moved as well. That's my Tiny Wine 9 bark. It needs to go. I'm over looking at it, looking pitiful every year. This is it. This is all it does every year. It's sad. Very sad. More hydrangeas that way. Let me spin around and then we'll go this way. But let's spin around slowly so that we can see behind us the beauty. That is my limelight hedge. Probably planted these in the wrong spot. Just going to be honest, I probably should have did little limes or limelight primes, but it is what it is. They're here now, and we'll figure it out later. It may just be that I kind of limb them up on the bottom and keep them in tree form so that it'll be easy to mow around out here, because if they're getting 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, they're going to be massive, and they're going to come out to the grass, and my husband's probably going to gripe about trying to cut around them. So I will accommodate him. I will figure it out. But you guys, I bet if I asked you which ones you thought were the clearance plants, you probably would think it was those two, because they are the ones that look like they're on the struggle bus. But that one, this one, and that one were clearance plants I got from Lowe's for $12 last year. When I tell you crisp fried and laid to the side, they look like they were on the struggle bus. I mean, they were on the struggle bus. They didn't look like they were. They were on it. This one looks as bigger than the ones that I've had for 3 years. I don't get it. This one finally looks great. These two, If they don't get their acts together this year, they're out of here. They're going to get moved probably to another location, and I'll just put in 2 other ones that'll grow a little bit better than these are. They're very sparse compared to the other ones, and they're not, their stems look real little compared to the others. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. There are some hydrangeas that I want to pitch as well. These were plant sale hydrangeas. They bloom on old wood. Don't even know what they are. Don't know the variety. I just know they're a lace cap variety that have really beautiful blue blooms for me. But they're so finicky, and heaven forbid you get a cold snap, you forfeit all your blooms. And I don't feel like coming out here wrapping them every time we get a last minute snap. Like, I don't want something that I have to be that fussy with all the time. So they're probably going to have to go. They're not that great looking to me. Maybe I'm just being extra dramatic about them because I don't like them. But yeah, I don't have time for that. No, I don't have time for that. I'd much rather get a variety out here that I know is going to perform for me no matter what, and just be done with it. Or just plant more of these, which are Huckster Blue Butterfly Bush. And that's what they do for me. The deer don't bother them, and they look like this all the time, no matter what. So I don't know. I feel like I'd much rather deal with having these than deal with that. So we'll see. The pucksters get 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, and the blue, obviously, they have really beautiful blue blooms on them. All right, let's spin around, and we shall look at the shade bed, part sun, part shade bed that's behind me. All right, I'm not going to spend too much time in this area because I feel like we see this area quite a bit lately. This is where I've planted all of the red heuchera. You can see that some of them are doing it, some of them are not. If I have to replace them, I just have to replace some of them. It's not that big of a deal to me. But it's about 12 of them here, and they will be beautiful once they all fill in and do what they're supposed to do. Back there, that beauty is a summon substance. Looks like it's glowing. We have some Cat's Meow Nepeta, a Captain Kirk hosta, some Larapi, and that is a double file by viburnum. Should get relatively large in size, but I just planted it this past fall. Everything back here, with the exception of the wee hostas and the oak leaf hydrangeas, was pretty much planted last fall. This past fall. I say last fall. This past fall of 2023. So, I'm not sure why these leaves look tattered. I'm thinking we had a storm recently and a lot of large branches fell, and that probably is why that looks as tattered as it does. Oh my gosh, guys, did I say that's a summon substance? That's a summon substance hosta. These all are wee hostas here. That's my African white iris back here, and my blood good Japanese maple. It seems to be doing pretty good right now. Back there. Right over here we have our incredible hydrangea that is budded up already. So even though, I tell you guys, even though this area is shaded, my plants do get a lot of dappled light, and they do produce blooms for me. So I don't really have a problem with that. I see blooms on my Astilbe too. Let's get in there, but that's some Astilbe right there. So those are Visions in Red Astilbe. I have one there and another there. I got these from Lowe's last year, and they were transplanted back here in the fall because where they were up here on the corner of the house where I just came from, that area where the tiny wine 9-bark is that I'm going to be removing, it just got a little bit too much sun for their liking, and they kind of scorched a little bit on the tip. So I thought I'd throw them underneath here so that they could live out their days back here underneath the shade, and they seem to be very happy with the move. Right here we have some hostas. Actually, let's go around. This is a Vitex, you guys. Just a regular old chest tree. They don't die back for us here. They just continue to grow. There's the Captain Kirk. Double file viburnum. And then here are the other hostas here. These are Patriot hostas. Don't ask me why that one is so small. Don't ask why any of these are as small as they are, because they were very large last year. But I did have to transplant them, and maybe the transplant, I didn't get enough of the roots. Who knows? They're here, and they'll have time to get acclimated and adjust. That back there too, honestly, is another Patriot hosta. You can tell by the foliage. However, or maybe you can't. It's like half and half. It's trying to revert. I don't know what is going on with it. First year I planted it, it was beautiful. Next year it came back like that. So it's trying to go back. This bright chartreuse is a Florida sunshine. And directly behind it, we have a couple of hostas here. I don't know what that one is because I don't remember planting it, but it may be a Big Daddy hosta that I did have back here, but I don't remember it being there. And that is a Voices in the Wind hosta by Proven Winners. Right here we have a Elegans. And then the Seducer hostas that are beautiful that we just transplanted in the previous video. We'll get closer to that one in a minute because look at how massive that leaf is. Woo. And then we just have a nice little drift of hellebores and Mahonia, soft crest Mahonia. I want another one of those to go in there. I love that texture. It's beautiful. Let's pan back. And this is a Beliza oak leaf hydrangea. I have 3 of these. I got these from Lowe's as well. They've been back here since we moved in a few years ago. The deer snapped them back, so they're a little bit stunted, but now they are putting on growth. And hopefully, no hope, I pray that I get some blooms on them this year. If the deer can, if we can come back the deer and keep them away. Right down here are more hosta. Don't know the variety, can't remember the names, so sorry. I don't remember, but they're beautiful. And I don't know, it may just be that I get some ferns or something else to go in between each one of these down here and continue on up the walkway. I am going to be replacing these stones with some flagstone-ish looking pavers. Let's get in here. I have on sandals, so I'm trying to be careful. I didn't want to wear my good sneakers out here. Look at that. So beautiful. Oh, the golfers are out, you guys. So if I just take off running and I cut camera real quick, it's because of them. I don't trust their aim. There's the other Seducer hosta right back there. They're so beautiful. Try that again. All right, you guys, I think the golfers are gone. So right here, you can see some of the fronds are starting to come up. This right here in this patch is where I have planted some ostrich fern. I say some, I only planted 1, I think 2. But I have now 3. So I did hear that they kind of are invasive. So we shall see. I don't think it would bother me if they kind of took over in this area, to be quite honest with you, because I love ferns that much. I can just kind of dig them up and move them. I say that like it's easy, but we shall see. We'll see what happens. If they start to look like they're getting out of control, I'll just kind of pitch them. Here's another view of the Seducer hostas here. And this one right here is the Halcyon, and then the other 2 on either side of it are the Seducer hostas. Right down below it, this shrub right here that is spotted and speckled, that is my spotted Akuba. And I'm super excited about this plant, and I really hope that it does amazing things out here. It looks like it should. It's putting on a ton of new growth, but that foliage is just unbeatable. I love it so much. I have not mulched back here, you guys, yet. I do have plans for that. I think that's supposed to be a Godzilla fern. We have just some more varieties of hostas in here, hydrangeas. I think that's a penny mac, a old variety of hydrangeas, and some guacamole hostas. Also, another thing that I noticed that looks kind of mildewy that I'm going to be spraying is this plant right here. And this is saddening to me because this is one of my new favorite perennials. This is my lungwort. This right here is Trevi Fountain is the variety of this one, but you can see what the foliage is supposed to look like. Look at that. And then look directly at this one below it. And look at these. So I've never grown lungwort before, but that does not look like something that is normal to me. So I'm going to be spraying these down, and I pray that they'll be okay because I love them so much, you guys. So it would hurt my heart if I had to get rid of these. That's the guacamole hosta. Some Hydrangeas, that's not areola. I got that from Pike's Nursery. I cannot remember the name of it. I'll try to look back in another video and see if I can find the name of it, but it definitely is not areola. It's a different variety of Hydrangeas. Over here is the Algo variety of Hydrangeas. And excuse the barking dogs. And then right here, we just kind of have a mixed border of things. We got some bloomstruck hydrangeas, a Woo La La hosta, and more lungwort. This one right here, though, is proven winners. Spot on. Yeah. That's spot on. I have 3 of those over here. And then just some random heucheras and things like that. This bed will look so much better when I get out here and weed it and put some mulch down. I love these. One is pistachio, proven winners pistachio something or another. And I don't recall what the other one is. They kind of look very similar though, but they are not the same. They're not the same. Another Bloodgood Japanese maple that is partially green. Not sure what's up with that. Some denim and lace Russian sage, Bobo hydrangea, and my Winecraft gold smoke bush. These are going to be a little bit difficult to see because they're blended in with the leaves. And I'm not sure why this one is taking on the coloring that it's taking on, but that is a hibiscus, you guys. And there is another one right here that looks more like it's supposed to look. It's coming up fresh out of the ground. Those are Holy Grail hibiscus. And then this is my Sadaharu, Sadaharu camellia. That glossy foliage is beautiful. Did not bloom for me. Has not bloomed for me. I think it blooms late spring though. I have to double check that. This is the Baptisia that I transplanted that is blooming. However, I don't know. Like I said, the tap roots on these are long. They don't like to be transplanted. I'm shocked I even got any kind of blooms out of it. If it doesn't do anything this year, I may leave it, see what it does for me next year. Maybe it'll get acclimated and adjusted. But the fact that I even got what I got from it right now is a shocker to me. That tap root is kind of creepy looking. It's so massive. Right here, I already showed you these guys in a previous video, but this is the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta that's just doing it right here. And they look really beautiful backed up with the Atlas roses right here. I also have an Annick rose right back there, and I know you got right there. You guys are probably like, why are you got them planted so close together? They're so teeny tiny, you guys. And honestly, I don't have plans on them staying in this location. I may actually move the Annick rose somewhere else. Maybe in the fall months, I may move it. I'm not 100% sure yet. And it may just be that I beat, like back it up, back that thing up to like right there. And right here is the beauty. It's the Weeping Atlas Cedar. I picked this up at Lowe's this late winter. And I think I planted it right before I went on my Disney trip with my daughter. All right, you guys, and that is going to wrap up today's video and tour. Like I said, it's not a whole lot. We don't have a whole lot of the garden beds done yet. We've just been in this house a couple of years, and I kind of take it piece by piece, but hopefully this year you guys can join me on the journey of creating new flower beds once we get the fence installed. But I hope you enjoyed this quick little video and quick little updates on things. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all the new subscribers out there. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are not yet. It will help me out tremendously. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share it if you know somebody who might enjoy it. And I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.